Welcome to Lowndes Legal Talk, where we share perspectives on legal and business issues affecting you.
Hi, I'm Brian Lawrence, and I'm an attorney at Lowndes in Orlando, and I'm joined by my fellow attorney, Melody Lynch, who is a shareholder in the firm's litigation and trial practice group. And today we're going to be talking about how to prepare for a virtual deposition. Hi, Melody.
Hi, Brian. I'm glad to be here with you today.
So, Melody, prior to COVID-19, depositions were almost always taken in person. Very rarely were they taken via video conference or Zoom or Skype or whatever. But now virtual depositions have become the new norm. From a strategy perspective, do you feel that virtual or remote depositions can be effective?
Yes, virtual depositions can be very effective in most cases. Now, there are some cases that are just too contentious, or for other strategy reasons, you need to be sitting across the table from opposing counsel or the witness. But in most cases, virtual depositions are very effective, and they're actually so much more efficient than getting on an airplane for a deposition. I've been to Seattle, Washington on the West Coast, and White Plains, New York on the East Coast, and literally everywhere in between for depositions. You'll not only save a lot of money in attorney's fees and costs related to travel, but you'll also save your own time and travel expenses as well.
So it sounds like there are some definite advantages to remote depositions, certainly with respect to travel and costs. But once you decide to take that course, can you tell me how preparation has changed in our COVID-19 world?
Sure. First, I think having reliable technology is really paramount. Having a solid internet connection, a web camera, and a good working microphone are all critical to having a successful remote deposition. A tip I like to tell clients is that you can contact the court reporter's office the day or two before your deposition to test out all of your technology and make sure that everything's in working order, so that you can take that piece, that stressful part, out of it, and you're not worried about it on the morning of the deposition.
And since the deposition is going to be virtual, what's the likelihood that documents are going to be presented during it?
Even though the deposition is remote, it's really important to be prepared to talk about documents. A common misconception for witnesses is that because you're remote, you're not going to be looking at documents. But Brian, that couldn't be further from the truth. Documents can either be shared through a platform like Zoom by sharing your screen, or many times they're just mailed out in advance to the court reporter's office or to whatever location the witness will be doing the virtual deposition.
And many of the cases we work on involve volumes and volumes of documents. So how do you prepare a client to handle this for a virtual deposition?
As any good lawyer will tell you, Brian, it depends. But in our cases where we have really high volumes of documents, I like to use a document review platform that's hosted in the cloud. And we can store documents for depositions in individual subfolders and then share those subfolders with our clients so that they can prepare for the remote deposition. In cases with smaller volumes of documents, we can host it all in-house in our own document review platform. And there we can save subfolders just like we would in the cloud space, but then we can share them with the client and they can prepare remotely for the deposition as well.
I have a question that I'm sure the audience will want to know the answer to. How should clients prepare to dress for the deposition?
A virtual deposition occurs on the record, so there'll be an audio and a video recording. I've been so surprised, Brian, to see people dress really unprofessionally for depositions, both witnesses and opposing counsel. These video recordings may be used at a future trial or other courtroom proceeding. So you definitely want to wear your best clothes and look professionally.
And speaking of aesthetics, does it make sense to use a virtual background?
I prefer for clients just to show their actual background, but if you don't have a professional looking background, a virtual background can be a good choice. just choose one that's not too distracting, something from a popular movie, for example, and instead stick with something that is more basic and won't make you look like you're floating through the screen, if you've ever seen that happen during a Zoom or other video proceeding.
Thanks, Melody. This session has been really helpful, and you provided a lot of really helpful tips on preparing for virtual depositions.
My pleasure.
And thanks to all of you for joining us. If you have any additional questions about virtual depositions, feel free to contact us. We're here to help.
Thank you for joining us for Lowndes Legal Talk. For more information about today's topic or to learn more about our attorneys and practices, please visit lowndes-law.com.